Healthy crop production can be attributed to pollinators. A primary pollinator with over 20,000 species is roughly 1 inch big. Despite the vast diversity in species and regions throughout the world, bees have a remarkably intricate society within their hive. The most important thing in a society is how everyone communicates to each other. I've always been curious as to how bees can get so much work done and operate so smoothly without speaking to each other. And so, throughout my research, I discovered there are 3 main ways bees can communicate with each other, and those are through vibrations and sounds, dancing, and pheromones. I want to start off with vibrations as the first way to communicate. Bees have 2 sets of muscles that take up most of their thorax. These muscles are primarily used for flight, but can also be used to generate various types of buzzes. Queens use a quack and a toot sound to communicate with their workers and drones. Unhatched queens will use the quack sound to alert workers around her to help her with her hatching. This sound can be almost seen as a get me out of here call, and once free, the queen will make a toot sound to gather her swarm and make ready for flight. This sound will also instruct other workers to leave the remaining queens in their cells for the time being, just to prevent other queen bees from fighting each other. Bees can also use vibrations as defense tactics. If an intruder attacks a colony, some species are known to surround the invader, vibrate, and collectively increase their body temperature through the friction and essentially cook their enemy alive. Vibrating and buzzing are also used to collect pollen. Some flowers that bees collect from won't have their stamen readily available and will need to be unlocked with the right frequency. When bees encounter flowers, they vibrate to release the pollen and collect nectar, then fly to another flower, repeat the process, and continue the pollination cycle. And how do bees tell each other where all this good nectar is? With dancing, of course. During their dances, bees will use different vibrations and sounds to indicate where some flowers are and how to get there. And jumping straight into dancing, in tandem with buzzing, bees will also dance to communicate their findings to others outside the hive. These dances are known as the round dance and the waggle dance. And they're how bees can indicate to one another the location of new feeding sites. It starts with the scout returning to the hive, unloading her nectar to the colony. The enthusiasm of her dance moves reveals the quality of the food source to the other foragers. If the bee is dancing around very energetically and for a long duration, this means the quality of the nectar is high and plentiful. If she's dancing very sluggishly and for a short time, that site might be depleted and not worth the effort. The first dance we'll discuss is the round dance. This indicates whether a feeding site is located near the hive, typically within a range of 25 to 100 meters. Scout moves in a circle while buzzing and then turns around to complete the circle in reverse multiple times. This dance unfortunately doesn't give the direct location of the food source. It just indicates that the food source is close to the hive. The next dance is the famous waggle dance, which is how bees can give precise locations of flowers to forage. The returning bee will swish around in a figure 8 pattern. When the bee starts on the straight of their dance, this represents the distance from the hive. A long walk will mean a further distance. This also tells the bees the amount of energy that's required to travel to the food site. The bee will also angle her thorax to indicate to the other recruits the direction of the site relative to the sun, and this is done mostly during the turns in the dance. And lastly, pheromones. Much like other insects, bees use scents and pheromones to talk to each other. The different castes in the hive all have their own pheromones they secrete. Each pheromone triggers sociological and behavioral responses. Queens will secrete a pheromone referred to as the queen mandibular pheromone, which affects the entire colony, influencing every aspect of its functioning. The pheromone plays a role in suppressing egg productions, swarming, and attracting drones to mate. Worker bees will collect the queen mandibular pheromone, carried around the hive much like a chain message or a game of telephone. When not enough of the pheromone is spread around, that could indicate the hive is too large and it's time to hatch a new queen to start a new colony. Larvae will also produce their own brood pheromone, which stimulates feeding, capping their cells for metamorphosis and inhibiting ovary development in the queen to slow down overpopulation. Worker bees will also release an alarm pheromone when they sting an enemy, alerting surrounding bees to the danger. But as a pacifying defense, bees will release a banana-smelling pheromone, which acts as an anesthetic in paralysis and paralyzes intruders, allowing the bees to remove them from the hive. In summary, though bees can't write or talk to express their intentions, they've developed unique ways to tell each other what's up around the colony. With a combination of buzzing, dancing, and scents, bees can determine where a faraway flower is, which way to turn, and when it's time to move out. Popular horticulture author named Elizabeth Warren once said, "The hum of the bee is the voice of the garden." Even though these fuzzy little creatures don't speak, their buzzing and communication is how you know your garden is active and thriving. Thank you.